Okay, guys, it's time for Toriko,
Toriko.
Mr. 1 millimeter Yuta.
Honestly, like before we get to do anything, I just gotta just give him a round, Mitsutoshi, a round of applause,
Yeah, I'm doing it silently.
because it was just, oh my god, like totally unexpected, but so welcomed.
Hell yeah.
Like we knew that you like from the very beginning, the moment we heard about this competition, the first person we thought was gonna from the first non Kumatsu uh, contender that we thought was gonna be in enter the competition was Yuta,
Yeah.
and now we know why.
Oh
Like
yeah.
we knew he was gonna be he was one of the stronger ones, and somehow he decided to show us why. He took our faith in the character of Yuta and decided to give us even more faith in him.
Yeah.
Like, so let's start. First of all, see his full course, and friggin' Condor Windows just insults it because of the capture levels being so low.
Yeah.
But and normally people would I would say the same thing, but it's like it's Yuta. You know there has to be a reason behind it, and lo and behold, there was.
There's a capture level 0 for his main course. Like, what does that even mean? Strong Turtle's wishes. The fuck?
Yeah, that was kind of odd.
What does that even mean?
I thought the Strong Turtle Wishes was the friggin' drink.
Well, according to Stream, it's the main course, but the drink is Health God's Sweat.
Oh yeah, that's it. The Health God Sweat is the drink. Like,
Uh-huh.
what? That must make any sense. But anyway, we find out in a flashback that he meets this kid from this village who is very, very sick, as well as everyone else in the village. So Yuta makes medicine for everyone because he's a medicinal chef.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, it doesn't matter if it tastes bad. You need to drink it or you'll die. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so the adults, they drink him and they start getting better. And his little buddy, who has gets gets at first gets better from the medicine, and he talks about, oh, I have this dream of becoming a gourmet hunter, and here's my full. I already decided my full course. It's a medicinal medicine or a full course made up of all medicinal ingredients, so that way it can help heal the country and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then he coughs up blood and dies because of an overdose.
Yeah. And because
Because
because the composition needed to be 1 millimeter different of how they cut the certain animal in order to work for kids.
well, no, he said the difference of the one translation, it was like the difference in portion from an adult to a child was 1 millimeter. Which, if you know anything, you can't. It's not like you can't give a child like adult Tylenol or something.
Yeah.
So because it would be too much, they would overdose.
Yeah, it was the stream translate. I'm reading the stream translation, word for word. It says, "For a child's portion, a subtle alteration was needed in the cut made with the kitchen knife. The difference between that and an adult's preparation is merely." Yeah, I guess that does.
That to me that implies that he
Yeah,
had to put a little less.
yeah, I think so.
So the point is that
Yeah.
because he was off by a millimeter, the kid overdosed and died.
Mm.
Like, talk about a life changing mistake.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much similar to a lot of ingredients out there, like the that fish in the beginning. What
Puffer fish,
the puffer
puffer whale,
fish? Yeah, puffer whale, where it was like
which
something like 1 millimeter or something. If you were just
very
off, yeah,
which now that we before we move on, this mistake was the also gave us the unbelievably unexpected backstory behind his quirk of 1 millimeter quirk.
Right.
It's like, oh, I don't make 1 millimeter of mistake, or I don't let 1 millimeter of a mistake happen, or something like that. Like that actually had a reasoning behind it,
Yeah.
like a deep one.
Yeah, a really good one. I like it a lot.
And then he talks. We see his master tell him that without because without failure, your confidence will turn into overconfidence. And
Hmm.
at the time, we thought that that only was that was just said because of what happened with Yuta. But no, that was actually foreshadowing what was going to happen at the end of the chapter,
Right.
where Yuta is figuring out okay how to cook the ingredient, and freaking Condor Window nearly completes cooking the fish, and it looks like he's about to beat Yuta when freaking Yuta prepares the space so that way the gravity goes in one direction
Yep.
up, thus lifting the bubble off the seesaw, leaving nothing to weigh down that side of the seesaw, causing Condor Window to fall into the burner furnace and die.
So it seems like all of Melk's like specialized knives are like handy for preparing the air around things. Because if we recall, his salad knife, which is I think different from that knife, is well, it's a sword, but you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
um, it was like the one that was made for cutting air, was literally made for cutting air, not the fruit air, but actual air.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
you can't also forget that he was able to prepare the space, but leave a small portion of the space around the fish the
Yep.
same, so that way it could still be, in its element
Yep.
and still be existing. Because apparently, if it was under any other circumstance, in any other form of space, it wouldn't be able to exist.
Right.
So it's like,
Yeah, it's sort of similar to what Tengu Branchi did, but with more like dexterity, I would say.
and I, in the history of anything, I've never heard or seen anyone deliver meant say a measurement before in such a badass way. Like freaking that last panel where he's like, the membranes were zero point 0.1 millimeter thick,
Uh-huh.
but this space had boundaries of 1 millimeter.
Hmm.
And just that look of you on Yuta's face, it's like with freaking Condor Window being sucked in, like eaten alive in the furnace. It's just so killer. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my god. Like, are the rest of the fights good? Or sorry, I wanted to call them cooking contests, but at this point it's like a fight
Pretty
almost.
much.
So are like all the battles gonna take place on the seesaw thing?
I don't know.
I hope not, because then it's like, oh well, then you just have to. Then each person's gonna come up with some trick to smart their opponent, so that way without even having to taste the ingredient, their dishes. Like I don't really want, like, yeah, I would like to see some characterization for the other characters, especially since we got some for Yuta. But at the same time, I don't want them to be like each and every fight or comp match end with, oh, I'm gonna pull out some boss move that will allow me to magically float in the air or become weightless or something, so that way you fall in and
Right.
I win by default.
Yeah, I would like to see a couple of them at least win
Get
in
to
a
the
cooking
tasting,
match. Yeah.
get like because I wouldn't actually expect the other four to underestimate them now that they were able to do this to Condor when Yuta did this to Condor Window.
Right.
Like you'd think, okay, since we know these guys are legit, so let's try and they'll be extra on their, on the ball.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect it to be to be win as easily.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
So overall, it was a stellar chapter.
Yeah, it was a great chapter, definitely.
Like I said to you earlier today, Yuta for the motherfucking win.
Hell yeah. Wonder who's next. Maybe Chiru. I don't know.
No, no.